Welcome to Yoga Hour. My name is Cadre. So patience. Patience is essential in life. The definition I found of patience is an ability to or willingness to suppress restlessness or annoyance when confronted with delay. It's an interesting definition. But in the true practice of yoga, patience is essential. As yogis, we practice patience with our bodies to open up at the right time, being careful not to push past our physical limitations. We practice patience with our energy, watching mindfully for the place where, if we rush ahead, our practice can be defeating. We practice patience with our minds, knowing that breaking free of mental thought patterns takes time and attention. We practice patience with our emotions, knowing that they arrive as teachers, slowly guiding us to a deeper awareness of what is happening within. But certainly the practice of patience is far from being easy. Perhaps we need to practice patience with our inability to practice patience. Ultimately, we practice patience with the path of yoga itself, recognizing that yoga isn't something we just get on our mats and do for an hour, but it's a gradual unveiling of our true nature. And this takes dedicated effort, time, and the wisdom of patience. So I invite you today, during your practice, to just be patient with yourself. Every day is slightly different, and I had my second dose vaccine yesterday, and so I will be very patient with the left side of my body because it is quite sore. Okay, so if you're not seated, come to a comfortable seat. Rest your hands wherever you find comfort. And then soften your gaze or close down your eyes. And then soften your skin. Lift up through your chest. Keep your chin out of your chest. Just take this moment to bring some awareness to your physical body. How you're feeling today, where you need to practice patience with your physical body. And once you've scanned through your body, pay some attention to your breath. And start to connect with your breath. And as we close the eyes down, we tune out the external world around us, the visual sense. And we take that out of the way momentarily so we can really tune inward and focus on the internal. And as we go through practice today, pay attention to your breath through the poses that we do. We don't always cue breath. It is certainly a very important part of yoga practice. One more full inhalation. And exhale out. You may keep your hands where they are or bring your palms together in heart center. And we'll start class with one Om. Feel free to join in or hold space. Full inhalation and full exhalation. And inhale once again. Bring your chin to your chest. Acknowledge yourself for showing up today for your practice. And then release your hands to your legs. Lift your chin out of your chest and then open your eyes. Okay, so come to mountain pose, the front of your mat. So Tadasana, the front of your mat. I'll face you. Feet about hip width apart, or you can bring your feet together. Just create a small space between your ankles. Tone your thighs. Squeeze your thighs in towards each other, rooting down through your feet. So you're placing equal weight on all four corners of your feet. Tone your glutes, or the top of your glutes, slide it down towards your heels. So you're tucking your tailbone under. Tone across your belly, lift your chest, broaden across your shoulders, arms down by your side, chin out of chest. Just take a few breaths here in Tadasana. A lot of the time we move through Tadasana very quickly, but it is a pose in and of itself. And then interlace your hands out in front. Flip your palms towards, away from you, or towards me if you're facing me. And then lift your arms up overhead. Point your palms towards the ceiling, straighten your arms, or you can keep a slight bend in your arms. Keep your chin out of your chest. Again, check in with your feet. Are you pressing down through your feet, squeezing your thighs in, your thighs toned, glutes engaged, belly button towards your spine, lift in the chest, arms up and back. So you're creating maximum distance from your feet to your hands. And breathe. Release your hands down by your side. And then bring your hands to your hips. Lift your left arm up. So straighten your arm, point your palm in, and close your fingers. Again, root down through your feet, tone your thighs. Top of your glutes, slide it down towards your heels. Engage across your belly. And then lift up, so create the space, the length first, and then crescent to your right. So bringing your torso towards the right, hips towards the left. Keep your chin out of your chest. Even bring your left shoulder back slightly. So you're opening across the left side of your body. You use your right hand to press down slightly, so you're also lengthening in your right side. Full inhalation, and as you exhale, stretch even just slightly more. And then come back to center, left hand to your hip. Ooh, my left shoulder. Lift your right arm up, point your palm in, close your fingers. So reach up, stretch up. Again, check with your feet, rooting down through your feet, toning your thighs, reaching up. And then bringing your torso to the left, hips to the right. Bring your right shoulder back slightly so you're as sideways as possible, keeping your chin out of your chest. Press down with your left hand so you're lengthening across the left side of your body as well. For crescent pose. Back through center, hands to your hips. Come to the front of your mat if you're not already there. So Tadasana at the front of your mat. Come more middle. Lift your right thigh up so it's parallel to the floor. Flex your foot. Also option to interlace your hands behind your right thigh to support it slightly. But try not to dump all your weight into your hands, using your abdominal muscles to lift your leg. Or down through your standing leg, your left leg. Lift your chest. From here, place your hands to your hips and then guide that right foot back midway on your mat, so halfway back. Keep your right toes angled towards the front of your mat or right corner of your mat, left toes at the front of your mat. Square your hips forward, press down through your feet and apart, engage your glutes, squeeze your thighs in. So create space, broadening across your chest, creating the space in your spine first. Bend at your waist and bring your torso towards parallel. Option to bend your front leg. This is early and this is a little bit of a hamstring stretch. Keep feet pressing down and apart, tone in the belly, chest forward. An option to stay here or bring your palms just outside your ears and extend your arms parallel to the floor. I'll do my right. So both arms out in front, palms facing in. Bring your palms back down to your hips, lift your torso upright, and step forward and come into Tadasana. Rise up through your chest. Lift your left leg parallel to the floor, so thigh is parallel. Flex your foot. Option, interlace your hands behind your left thigh. And then release your hands, placing your hands to your hips, and step back with your left foot about midway. Your left toes angled towards the left corner of your mat, right toes straight ahead. Squeeze your thighs in, so you're engaging in your glutes, pressing your legs down and apart. Then lift through the chest, bend at your waist, bring your torso towards parallel. I always recommend blocks. If you have blocks at home or something you can utilize, we'll use them today, or at least one, I believe. So keep squeezing your thighs in as well as pressing your feet down and apart. Options stay here or bring your palms by your ears and extend through your arms so your arms are parallel to the floor. Hands back down the hips, lift your torso upright, and step forward into Tadasana. Okay, so feet about hip width apart. Bring your palms together at heart center. Bend your knees, sit back and down, and then bring your left leg back into a lunge position. So giant step back, wheel your back foot back to straighten your back leg, heel vertical. So front thigh towards parallel. Knee is in line with your ankles, so your shin is straight up and down. And stay with your palms at heart center. Squeeze your thighs in, engage your glutes. Back tailbone under, lift through your chest. Or place your palms at your hips, and then lift your left arm up. Point your palm in, close your fingers, and crescent to the right. So similar to what we did, but we're adding the lunge in it. Lift, lengthen across the left side of your body. Keep your chin out of your chest. Don't lose the depth in your lunge. And then left hand to your hip and step forward with your left, coming into Tadasana on your mat. Take a breath. And then palms together, heart center. Bend your knees, sit back and down, and then giant step back with your right foot. So wiggle that back foot back further so your right leg is straight and strong. Left knee in line with your ankle, not beyond. Press your feet down and apart. Squeeze your thighs in. Tone across your belly. Lift chest. An option to keep your hands here. Place them at your hips
And then lift your right arm up, point your palm in, close your fingers, reach up, stretch up, and then press to the left. So still using your left hand to press down. So you're still elongating on your left side as well. Don't lose the strength, the stability in your lunge as you press it to the left. Come back through center, right hand down, step forward with your right, and come into Tadasana. Take a breath. Then inhale, reach up, Urdhva Hastasana, so create length, face first, bend your knees, and forward fold. So all 10 fingers down to your mat. Press your feet down and back, hands down and forward. And then half forward fold, so gaze forward, flat back. Place your palms to your shins or out in front. And then plant your hands beside your toes and walk back and come into downward facing dog. Keep your feet as wide as your hips and bend your knees for our first down dog. Check with your hands. Make sure your hands are shoulder width apart, slightly wider. Separate your fingers evenly and index fingers pointed straight ahead. Press your hands down and forward, feet down and back, maybe walking your dog. So bringing one heel down towards the mat at a time. Wrap your outer shoulders in towards your ears and press your hands away from you. Sit bones up towards the ceiling, thighs back behind you. Relax your head and neck. Shift forward into plank pose, top of a push-up. Press your hands down. You're going to have a slight rounding in your upper back. Option always to lower your knees down. Straighten your legs. Tuck your tailbone under. Belly button towards your spine. We're going to move through Chaturanga Dandasana. So in Chaturanga, if you do with straight legs, you come to the very tippy toes of your toes, and your shoulders are going to shift past your wrists. As you do that, hug your elbows in, bend your elbows, and slowly lower down to your belly. You can also do that with your knees down, because that's a lot on your shoulders. One at a time, lift and lengthen your legs back. And Cobra Pose or Bhujangasana. So hands just outside your lungs, elbows tucked in. Press your feet down so much, your kneecaps lift up. Still engage across your belly muscles, chin out of chest. Press down into the mat, baby cobra. So lift up just slightly. So your lower ribs are just about touching your mat. Drag your hands back towards your feet, chest forward, and then lower down. Roll onto the left side of your body. This is the endless pose. Stack your feet, flex your feet. You want your feet or heels in line with your hips, in line with your shoulder. Once you're in this position and you can see your toes and you're all in one line, you can lower down like you're going to the beach and place your head in your hand. Sometimes people do just behind their ear, but just be careful of your cervical, your neck, cervical spine. I usually put my hand to the top of my head into my hand. Keep your elbow also in line with your shoulder and keeping that. Tone your thighs, tighten your kneecaps, tone abdomen. Your right hand you can use temporarily for balance. And as simple as this seems, I always find this pose very difficult. I always have a tendency to roll back. So that is my challenge there, to be patient with that one. Bend your right knee, aiming your right knee towards the ceiling. You can use your right hand to grab your right ankle and place your foot in tree pose. From here, pressing your thigh and your foot together. Pinky toe edge of your left foot, press that down into the mat. Option to stay right here or bringing your right knee in towards your right shoulder. Grab your big toe with your first two fingers and thumb, wrap it tight. Maybe straighten your right leg. So maybe press your foot and your hand together. Keep pressing that left foot in. Don't forget your breath. And then there it is. And then come out and roll onto your other side. I'll just switch direction. Okay, come up on your elbow first so you can stack your thighs, stack your feet, flex your feet, lift through your chest. And once you have that, action, you can lower down, placing your head into your hand. So make sure your right elbow is again in line with your right shoulder and line up down your body. From here, tone your thighs, press your right pinky toe edge of your foot into the floor. Maybe bend your left knee towards the ceiling and place it into tree pose. So you're opening in your hip, your left knee stacking more or less over your right leg. Keep the balance. And stay here, bring your left knee in towards your left shoulder. Wrap your first two fingers and thumb around your left toe. Maybe work that leg slowly, take your time, towards straight. All right, so big hip opener. And then release and come back to your bellies. From here, plant your hands down, tuck your tailbone or tuck your shoulders. Okay, my words aren't working today. It must be the vaccine. Squeeze your elbows in, curl your toes under, lift your knees, and press up and back into downward facing dog. I'll get it. Take a breath here. Press your hands down and forward, feet down and back, sit bones towards the ceiling. From here, shift forward slightly as if you're coming into plank. Step your right foot about a third of the way towards the front of your mat. Left hand's going to come about a handprint forward. And then as you shift your hips back behind you to the left, you're going to angle both feet to the right. So we're coming into like a V-stage modification. From here, your left pinky toe edge of your left foot, press that into the mat. Lower your hips down. Bring your right arm in line with your left leg. Lift through your chest. You're not collapsing in your left arm. Maybe gaze over to your left foot. And then swing that right arm back around. Place that hand on your mat. Shift your hips up and back and come back into downward facing dog. Full inhalation. Exhale out. Step your left foot about a third of the way. So your left toes are pointed towards the left corner of your mat. Right hand shifts slightly out to the right and about a half a handprint maybe towards the front of your mat. You're going to shift your hips to the right as you angle both feet to the left. You're coming into a V-stage variation. Your left hand, bring that towards your right toes and sit your hips down towards the mat. Different angle of the pose. Try not to collapse in the right shoulder. Lifting through the chest. Maybe gaze over your right toes. Swing the left hand back around, plant it on your mat, and come back to downward facing dog. And take a breath. Shift forward, placing a little bit of weight on your left hand, left foot. Step your right foot forward. between your hands. You're in a lunge position. And then lower your back knee down. So I've been working a lot at home and I have tile floor and it is not soft. So I have a little pad for under my knees. You can also place a blanket or roll up the corner of your yoga mat. It is quite helpful when you're on your knees a lot. So left knee down, squeeze your hips in towards each other or your thighs in, your right heel, left knee, squeeze in. As you squeeze those in together, lift your chest upright, place your palms or your hands at your hips. Keep squeezing your front heel, back knee towards each other. Your back foot can either be curled under, toes curled under, or top of foot. I prefer toes curled under, preference. Lift through your chest. And then keep the lift and maybe sink your hips down and forward. So don't go past your point. When you start to feel too much, back off slightly. And then bring your hands down, surrounding your front foot. Option if you have a block, it comes in handy right now. You're gonna walk your right hand on the inside of your right foot, heel toe your foot just slightly, about a footprint out to the right. Keep your right knee in towards your right shoulder. Option to stay with palms on your mat, or if you have a block, you can place it down and come onto your forearms for a forearm lunge. If you're really open in your hips, you can bring your forearms straight down to your mat. Keep squeezing your front heel, back knee towards each other. Toning your abdomen, tone your glutes, chest forward, chin out of chest. Stay working right here, or place your palms down. Walk your right toes towards the front of your mat, just enough so you can take your right shoulder under your knee. And then plant your hand outside your front foot. Yes, this is a difficult pose. Okay, come on up. Right hand, and bring both hands surrounding your front foot. Curl your back toes under, lift your knee, and step back into downward facing dog. And take a breath. I always recommend working with feet hip width apart in down dog. I just find it creates a little bit more space in my lower spine, my sacral area. And then gaze forward, leave a little bit of weight on your right hand and right foot, and step your left foot forward between your hands. Lift and lengthen first, wiggle your back toes back a little bit, and then lower your right knee down. Squeeze your left heel, right knee towards each other, tone glutes, tone abdomen, lift your chest upright. Hands to your hips. And always feel free to adjust your stance. So whether you want to bring your foot closer or further back or squeezing them in more, it just depends, of course, on your body, your openness in your body. Keep squeezing your thighs in, lifting through the chest, and then maybe sink your hips down and forward. So left glute towards left heel. Don't forget to breathe. And then bring your hands down surrounding your front foot. Walk your left hand on the inside of that foot and heel toe your foot out to the left about a footprint. Stay here or keep the length in your spine and your chest forward, the chest forward, and maybe lower down onto your forearms, onto a block, onto your mat. Keep squeezing your legs in, chest forward. Your left knee will want to drift out to the left. Keep squeezing it in towards the center. Forearm lunge. And breathe. Again, you can stay working right there or come to your fingertips. Heel toe, or I guess it's like an inchworm, your left foot towards the front of your mat. Just as much so you can tuck your left shoulder under your left knee. And then plant your hand on the outside in line with your right hand. And gaze forward, chest forward. Don't forget about squeezing in towards the midline. So right knee, left heel, and glutes engage. Belly up and in. Okay, release that. And come into hands and knees momentarily and have a seat. Place your palms on your thighs. Take a breath. And then come back to hands and knees, curl your toes under, lift your hips up, walk your feet towards the middle of your mat, hands towards your feet, and slowly come up to Tadasana. Take a drink of water, maybe. Always hydrate. Okay, facing the long edge of your mat. And take a wide stance. So wide stance, when your arms are parallel to the floor, your ankles are in line with your wrists, more or less. Your heels stay the widest part of your feet, or your feet are parallel to the short edge of your mat. Straighten, strengthen your legs, lift your chest, tuck your tailbone down and under. Lift your arms parallel to the floor and broaden across your chest. Turn your right toes out, 90 degrees. Front heel, back center arch, make sure they're in line. Keep the strength in your legs, the lift in your chest, and then bend your right knee and come into Virabhadrasana 2. So right knee in line with your ankle, not beyond. Right knee slightly out to the right so you can see your first 3 to 4 toes. Maybe even 5 toes. Gaze over to the right. Keep pressing your feet down and apart. Tailbone down and under. Lift in your chest. Tone across your belly. From here, straighten your front leg. Turn your feet to parallel. You can rest your arms if you need to. Or dig into or place more weight on the ball mounts of your feet. So you're going to come into your tippy toes, angle your heels in. So you're just angling your feet so your toes are pointed to the corners of your mat. Arms come into goal pose or cactus pose. And you may have to adjust your stance. Squat down into a goddess pose. Tailbone down and under. Keep your knees tracking more or less with your ankles and pressing them out. So extending out and back. Lift through your chest. Straighten your legs. Turn your back toes in. Left toes towards the front of your mat. Extend through your arms so arms are parallel. And then straighten, strengthen your legs. Bend your left knee. Come into Virabhadrasana 2 to the left. So again, check with your left knee. Make sure it's not beyond your front ankle. Out to the left slightly. So you can see your first 3 to 4 toes, maybe 5. Your back foot, the heel is the widest part of that foot. Tuck your tailbone down and under, tone across your belly, lift your chest, gaze softly over your left fingertips. Straighten your front leg. Again, bring your hands to your hips if you need a break. Turn your toes in, so feet are parallel. And then bring weight onto the ball mounts of your feet, so the top towards your toes. Lift your heels and angle your toes in. And sit down into a goddess pose. This is a lot on your legs.
Think extending out through your knees and back. Lift your chest, sit deep. Straighten your legs, turn your heels out, and then jump to the middle of your mat into Tadasana. We are going to do that one more time. Get ready. Palms together at heart center. Bend your knees, jump and take a wide stance. Lift your arms parallel to the floor. Turn your right toes open, 90 degrees. Straighten, strengthen your legs. Lift your chest. Bend your right knee, coming into Warrior Two. Again, do all the good things in Warrior Two. Right knee out to the side. Back leg straight and strong. Tuck tailbone under. Gaze over your fingertips. Take a full breath in. Exhale out. Straighten your front leg. Turn your toes to parallel. Angle your arms up to a cactus. Weight into your toes. Angle your heels in. Sit down. Goddess pose. Straighten your legs. Dig in. Heels out. So the feet are parallel. Parallel your arms out or extend your arms out. Left toes out 90 degrees. Strengthen your legs. Create space in your spine. And then extend or bend your left knee and come into Warrior Two. To the left. Take a breath. Straighten that front leg. Bring your feet parallel. Arms up again. Last time. Weight into your toes. Angle your heels in. Sit down. Goddess pose. Opening across your chest. And then hands to your hips. Straighten your legs. Bring your toes to parallel and step to the middle of your mat. Very good. Okay. Tree pose. So we're going to do tree pose to triangle pose. Actually, I'll take that back. We're just going to do triangle pose. Looking at my time here. So come to the middle of your mat and take a wide stance. Again, straighten, strengthen your legs. If you have blocks, you can set them behind your ankles onto your mat. If not, that's fine. We can work with our shins. Turn your right toes out, 90 degrees. Straighten, strengthen your legs. Tuck tailbone under, tone abdomen, lift chest. Lift your arms parallel to the floor. Shift your left hip back behind you as you reach through your right. So go for extension first, trying to close this gap here first. And then bring your right hand down to your block, to your shin or your mat. The outside of your foot. Lift your top arm open. So we're opening in the leg even more. So lift, reach across your chest, press your feet down and apart. Create equal weight under both feet and your hand. If your hand is on your shin, make sure you're not pressing down into your shin. Even lift up. So extend across your chest. Come on up. Switch your feet. So feet to parallel. Left toes out, 90 degrees. Lift. So extend. Create space first. And then shift your right hip back. Leaning with your left. And once you have this gap closed to your capacity, bring your left hand down to your block, to your shin, open across your chest, lifting your right arm up. Press down through your feet and your bottom hand, stretch up across your chest. You can look down at your toes, out or up, whatever works for your neck. And then lift your torso back upright, hands to your hips. Feet parallel, step to the middle of your mat. And then have a seat. Come towards the front of your mat. Bend your knees. We're going to go into pigeon pose. So right hand up, under your right knee, grab your left ankle, pull it through. Left knee, outer hip width apart. Close that knee joint and then shift some weight onto your left hip, left hand, bring your right leg back behind you. You could stay working with a bent knee, just press your hips forward or lift your hips up, straighten that back leg, line it up with the long edge of your mat, point your toe down, squeeze your thighs in, and then sink your hips down and forward. Option to stay upright, or if you're going to fold forward, think chest towards the front. So chest through your hands, create space, length first, and then you can come down to your forearms. Back leg straight and strong, squeeze that ankle in, tone your glutes, your right glute, belly button towards your spine, and breathe. Your left pinky toe press it into the mat. And then lean onto your left hip, bring your torso upright, bring that right leg out in front, and come back to your seated position, knees bent. Take a moment. And then left hand up, left hand under your left knee, fascia. Grab your right ankle, pull it through. So your right heel is just to your left sit bone, and your right knee is outer hip width apart. Lean onto your right hip and bring that left leg back behind you. Again, you can work in this position. So it's kind of a, not really 90 degrees, but close. Or shoot your left leg back behind you, lifting your hips up and then squaring them towards the front of your mat. Your back leg lined up with the long edge of your mat, kneecap pointed down, squeeze ankle in. If you're going to fold forward, lift your chest. So think chest through your hands, driving your palms back towards your feet, and then lower down onto your forearms, onto your chest. Keep squeezing that pinky toe into the mat. Clamping that knee joint closed. In pigeon pose, I usually work with a closed front knee, more or less. Some people have openness there and it doesn't affect their knees at all. And you can work with your shin parallel to the front edge of your mat. Just know that that's a lot more of a stretch. And it can be a little precarious on your knee or on my knee. Bring your torso upright, lean onto your right hip, and then swing your left leg out in front. And lie down on your back. Knees bent, knees and feet about hip width apart. Bring your left knee in towards your chest. And then angle your left knee out towards your left shoulder slightly. Bring both hands on the inside of that left knee and grab your foot. Right hand comes to your heel, left hand comes to the ball mount or towards your toes. Stay working here or lift that foot up and keep it parallel to the ceiling. So you're flexing your foot. Your foot and your shin and your knee are all in one line. So this is a lunge position on your back. Keep pressing your hands, your foot into your hands, but pulling down gently with your hands. Your left knee is going to come more towards your outer left shoulder. An option to stay here or straighten your right leg along your mat. Just be patient, go slow. You can also drop your right hand down. Extend through your right leg. If it's straight, make it strong. Open in the hips, allowing your shoulders to rest onto your mat. And lift your chest up, rebend your right knee, grab your right or your left heel with your right hand, bring the left arm on the inside, so through the little hole here, and clamp
it in your knee. So bring your upper arm into your knee pit, basically. And maybe clamp that leg shut. Okay, release. Don't get confused by all the confusion, right? Bring your right knee in towards your chest. And then out towards your right shoulder. Bring both hands on the inside of the right knee and grab your foot. Left hand comes to your heel, right hand comes to your toes, your pinky toe edge. And then extend that leg so your foot is facing the ceiling and widen it slightly out to the right. So you're in a lunge position. Keep your foot flexed, press through your big toe edge or the inner edge of your foot. You can place your left hand to your left hip. And my left leg typically wants to go out to the side, so keep it up. Or straighten it along your mat and tone the thigh. Tone across your belly muscles. Allow your chest, back of your shoulders to rest on towards your mat. Rest on or towards. Keep pulling gently with your right hand, pressing up through the inner edge of your right foot. An option to stay here or lift your chest and head, bend your left knee, grab your heel of your foot with your left hand, and then your right hand through the center. Bring your upper arm into your knee pit or behind your knee joint, and then clamp your knee joint shut. Gaze up. Okay, come on out. Take a rest. And bring both knees in towards your chest. Place your hands just behind your thighs and rock up to a seated position. Okay, so Ashtavakrasana, or 8 angle. That's basically what we did on our back. Similar. I'm going to show you real quick, and hopefully I can do it on my left side. We'll see. And then I'll talk you through it. Okay, so different stages. So stage 1, you can stay right here, of course. Stage 2, 3, similar to what we just did. 4, stay here. 4. Okay, let's try it. So there's a good story about Ashtavakrasana, but of course I don't have time to tell you that one. But it is interesting. He was a sage called Ashtavakra, I think. Very wise man. Anyhow, bend your right knee in towards your chest. Lift your chest. Left leg straight and strong, kneecap pointed up. Widen your right knee out to the side slightly and bring both hands on the inside of your right knee. Grab your foot. Lean some weight onto your left hip and lift the right shin so it's parallel to the floor. So you're in that kind of a lunge position that you were just in on your back. Widen it out. Widen your hip out, widen your knee towards your right shoulder. Keep the lift in your chest. One thing that happens in this pose is some people try to, or not try, but the right shoulder goes in and it crunches in the chest. So keep a lift in the chest as best you can. Stay working here, or left hand to left heel, right hand, make a C shape and grab your calf. Lift your leg up, so you're going towards your straight leg, but not. And then work your shoulder in towards your knee joint. So upper arm in your knee pit. I love that knee pit. Clamp your knees shut, point your toes, place your hand down to your mat. Your right hip will come up at this point. Left hand outside your left hip, in line with your right. Bend the left knee, cross your ankles, squeeze in. So tone across your belly, squeeze your legs in towards each other, lift your chest. I'm going to use Chaturanga arms As you lean forward, chest forward, extend through your feet out to the side. Maybe gaze towards your toes. Keep clamping your knees shut. And then come on out. Very good. Second side. Sometimes you can also use blocks to raise you up. I find that to be slightly more difficult for me, but we can try that another time. Okay, legs out straight. Bend your left knee. Bring your both hands on the inside of your left knee, so your left knee goes slightly wide. Lean some weight onto your right hip. Grab your left foot and bring the shin parallel to the floor. Open in your hip. Left knee back towards your left shoulder. Right hand comes to right heel. Again, make sure your heel, your shin, your knee are all in line. You're not angling it in. It's extended out into that lunge position. So 90 degree. Slide your left knee back. Left hand comes to a C shape under your calf. Lift up, tucking your upper arm, shoulder in towards your knee joint. Clamp it shut. Squeeze it shut. Point your toe. Place your hands on either side or right on right thigh, outside right thigh, and in line with one another. Bend your right knee. Cross your ankles. Squeeze your elbows in. You're going to go into your Chaturanga arms as you extend your legs out to the left. Lean forward. Maybe transfer some weight. Squeeze your knees towards each other. And dip forward. Gaze to the left. Yes. Okay. Patience. Lie down on your back. Bend your knees. Take a rest. Place one hand to your belly. One hand to your chest. Widen your feet. And drop your knees in towards the center. Slow down your breath. And bring your feet and knees hip width in line with one another. Lift your arms overhead, goalposts, or you can clasp your hands above your head. Lift your hips up and guide them slightly over to the right, dropping your knees to the left, gaze over to the right. Walk your right foot off your mat so your knees are staggered, not stacked. Keep your feet flexed. And breathe. All that hard work. Do all the movements. Noticing all the different things in our bodies as we move through our asana practice. Setting up for stillness. Bring your knees up, shift your hips back through center, and then lift your hips up and guide them over to the left, dropping your knees to the right. Walk your left foot off the left side of your mat. Maybe switch the paths of your hands and gaze over to the left. Full inhalation and exhalation. Starting to let go of all things that we did or did not do in practice. Not to hold on to any of that. And then bring your hips, knees up, back to center. Bring your knees in towards your chest to recline child's pose. Maybe rocking side to side, if that feels good. Full inhalation, and as you exhale, release and bring your legs long on your mat and come into Shavasana, our final pose. So arms alongside your torso, palms facing up, legs extended, Allow your ankles, your feet to drop out to the sides. Soften all the features of your face. Close your eyes down and rest. And take this time in Shavasana to restore and receive all the benefits of your practice today. Start to deepen your breath. Bring some small movements to your toes and hands. Bring some awareness to your body as you bend your knees. And slowly roll to your right. Using the strength of your arms, return to a seated position. You place your palms together at heart center if that feels comfortable for you. Keep your eyes closed or a soft gaze out in front. We'll seal class with one Om. Again, feel free to join in or hold space. Full inhalation and exhale out. Inhale once again. Bring your chin to your chest. Down your chest, and in honor of yourself, each other, and this practice. Namaste. Thank you very much for practicing. Thanks for all your hard work. And we'll be back in person soon. Have a wonderful rest of your day.